Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everybody. My new chairman of the board, Matt Johnson, was able to identify immediately the music playing. What are the three letters? BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive. And it should be the theme of the evening. You ain't seen nothing yet. We're just getting started. So, good evening. Welcome to the 45th Annual Semiconductor Industry Association Award Dinner. I'm John Neufer, SIA President and CEO. On behalf of the SIA Board of Directors, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been a very, very big year for our industry, and I'm so glad to be together tonight to celebrate our collective accomplishments and look ahead to the future. Before we start dinner, I'd like to recognize the following platinum and gold sponsors. Their support has helped make tonight's program possible. Cadence, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Okay, this is a long list, folks. It's a long list. Yeah. Intel, Jobs Ohio, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Micron, New York Loves Nanotech, NIIT, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Western Digital, AMD, Analog Devices, Dexcom, Electronic Fluorocarbons, Fragaman. Wow, there's some spirit there. Global Foundries, IBM, Marvell, My Silicon Compass, hello Ian Steph, Salesforce, Samsung, Silicon Labs, Skywater, and Texas Instruments. Wow, we got something going on here tonight. I'm not sure what it is. A huge thanks to all our amazing sponsors. I'd also like to welcome two very special guests joining us this evening. Governor Eric Holcomb of Indiana. Welcome back. And the former governor of Utah, Ambassador John Huntsman, who I like to say I worked for him, but I don't know if he says this guy used to work for me. Great to have you both here, and thank you for your support of our industry. And last but not least, I'd like to recognize the incredible kids from the FIRST Robotics program who They dazzled us once again with their robots and bright smiles during tonight's reception. So, I guess the question, come on all up. Okay, come on up. I have two questions for you once you get here. Okay, who's gonna, we're almost here. First of all, this is the future of our industry here. Second of all, question, who's going to be the next President of the United States? No volunteers? Next question, who's going to be the next Jensen Huang? All right, we have a winner here. All right, thanks. Let's give a huge round of applause for the future of our industry. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. All right, we're done. You guys got to go that way now. Thanks. Okay. Love those kids. Love the energy. All right. With that, please enjoy the dinner. We'll resume tonight's program shortly. Thank you.
Enactment of the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022 was an historic achievement for the semiconductor industry and a major victory for America's economy and national security. The new law provides $52 billion in manufacturing grants and research funding, as well as an investment tax credit for chip production. These initiatives will reinvigorate domestic manufacturing and R&D and reinforce America's chip supply chains. While enactment of this landmark bill is a cause for celebration, it also marks the start of a new phase of our work as focus now shifts from legislation to implementation. In anticipation of CHIPS Act incentives, companies in the semiconductor ecosystem have already committed $180 billion to new projects across America, creating more than 200,000 estimated jobs throughout the U.S. economy, including 36,000 new jobs in the semiconductor ecosystem alone. And there's much more to come as the law is implemented. On the research front, the new federal funding will combine with the industry's sizable investments to turbocharge U.S. chip innovation. This includes the establishment of a National Semiconductor Technology Center and a National Advanced Package Manufacturing Program. SIA will offer guidance as government leaders look to expand advanced chip research in America. In addition, while the CHIPS Act includes a tax credit for domestic chip manufacturing, we also need a similar tax credit for chip design, something SIA will champion to support the growth of domestic design capabilities as well. SIA will also continue to pursue our trade and workforce policy priorities, expanding access to global markets, and growing America's technology workforce through sound education and high-skilled immigration policy. U.S. semiconductor leadership is important not just to lawmakers and industry leaders, but to all Americans. More than just fortifying our economy and national security, it's also about uplifting the American spirit of innovation and pride. Together, we've accomplished great things, but the best is yet to come.
Good evening. Thank you once again for being here tonight. We hope you enjoyed that retrospective of what's been an incredible year for the industry. We have an exceptional program planned for you this evening. In just a few minutes, we'll welcome SIA's new chair, Matt Johnson of Silicon Labs. Later, that was starting up. Okay, later we'll recognize two university professors for their outstanding work advancing semiconductor research. A highlight of the evening will be the presentation of SIA's highest honor, the Noyce Award, to the great Lip Bhutan from Cadence Design Systems and Walden International. Finally, our keynote presenter, Ford CEO Jim Farley, will be joined by Texas Instruments CEO Rich Templeton for a fireside chat on the future of automotive innovation. We'll also have video greetings from a few far-flung surprise guests. You won't want to miss them. Before we get to that, I'd like to take a few minutes to reflect on this year and what a year it's been for our industry. In 2022, with global demand for more and better chips at an all-time high, our industry has worked tirelessly to speed the pace of innovation and ramp up chip production. In fact, the global industry is on pace to ship more semiconductors this year than during any year in history. Although we're certainly not out of the woods yet, for sure, that increased chip production in 2022 has helped ease the ongoing global chip shortage and put more semiconductor-enabled products in consumers' hands. And we're not only producing more chips than ever before, we're also making them better, faster, and more efficient. In fact, U.S. semiconductor companies continue to plow 1/5 of our revenues back into R&D to turbocharge chip advancements. And thanks to a truly historic policy victory this year, chip companies will now have much greater incentive to build and innovate right here in the US of A. As you all well know, that's because over the summer, Congress passed and President Biden signed into law on the insanely hot south lawn of the White House, and I know there's some scar tissue remains from that. he signed into law the CHIPS and Science Act. The act includes $52 billion in chip manufacturing incentives and research investments, as well as a separate investment tax for semiconductor manufacturing. These investments will help reinvigorate U.S. leadership in chip technology and reinforce America's economy, national security, and supply chains. As you saw in the video a moment ago, in anticipation of CHIPS Act incentives, companies in this sector, in the semiconductor ecosystem, have already announced investments across the U.S. totaling $180 billion. These new projects are estimated to create more than 200,000 new U.S. jobs, including 36,000 direct jobs in the semiconductor ecosystem alone. The new law is a milestone win for our industry, our economy, and for our consumers. And it's a testament to what is possible when government and industry work together, rise above partisan differences, and deliver a major achievement for America. And it was not just our industry, but the broader industry, including our good friends in the auto industry, the medical device industry, cloud companies, telecom companies, and others that shouldered into the Herculean task, stood together for the greater good, and got this thing across the finish line. It was an awesome collective effort. Now, our focus shifts on ensuring the new provisions are implemented effectively, efficiently, and promptly. Right, Donna? Yes, no pressure. While this accomplishment is poised to deliver tremendous opportunities for our industry, we also continue to face some very significant challenges. Global semiconductor sales growth has slowed substantially during the second half of this year. And the global market, known for its cyclicality, is not projected to rebound until late 2023. In addition, tensions between the U.S. and that big presence across the Pacific continue to reverberate across the global supply chain. And other significant policy challenges remain, including the need to enact an investment tax credit for semiconductor design, strengthen the semiconductor workforce by reforming America's high-skilled immigration and system and reinvigorating our STEM education. And we need to do more to promote free trade across global markets in a time when some of our fundamental free trade assumptions are being challenged. SIA is eager and ready to continue the fight for these initiatives in the year ahead, and we will do so alongside a strong and determined coalition. I'm very proud to say SIA now represents a whopping 99% of the U.S. semiconductor industry and a large and growing share of non-U.S. firms. Together, we speak with one voice on the issues that matter most for our industry, for our country, and for the world. As I close, let me thank you all again for being here to celebrate this industry and for your work and your dedication towards advancing this critical sector. Semiconductors are poised to have a greater impact on the world than ever before, continuing to make the impossible possible. With effective government-industry collaboration in the years ahead, we will continue to grow, innovate, and realize a brighter future for our world, for our country, all built on semiconductors. Thank you. Okay, you're not done with me yet. Before welcoming him to the stage, the individual who will lead SIA in the year ahead as 2023 board chair, I want to take a moment to recognize SIA's outgoing board chair, Cristiano Amon, CEO of Qualcomm. He's unable to join us tonight, but not yet. That'll come. He's unable to join us tonight, but Jensen, I know what you're doing. He's unable to join us tonight, but I'd like to say he brought amazing focus and energy to his role as SIA chair this past year. Cristiano was an outstanding leader of SIA during a highly consequential moment in our industry's history. His steadfast guidance and dogged advocacy on behalf of our priorities has left the industry far stronger and better positioned for future success. So let's play a video he made for us.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a really successful year, and I feel grateful for all we have accomplished at SIA and as an industry this year. Let me first offer an enthusiastic congratulations and thanks to everyone in the room, the SIA board, our entire membership, and all of our other special guests. In particular, I would like to thank John and the team at SIA. Your efforts in continuing to drive the United States semiconductor industry forward, navigating through one of the biggest supply chain crises of our times, and the historic passage of the CHIPS and Science Act has been remarkable. The Act will help us maintain R&D leadership, strengthen our supply chains, and cultivate a next-generation workforce, all of which are core to our nation's growth, competitiveness, innovation, and security. It is critical that the United States maintains semiconductor design and manufacturing leadership to drive digital transformation. And as digital transformation accelerates, global demand for semiconductors will likewise increase. If the world learned anything over the past couple years, is that semiconductors are in everything, and they are an essential ingredient for a global economy. And as an industry, we must deliver on the promise of the CHIPS Act and invest for our future. A key part of this is our continuing efforts to educate those outside the industry of the benefits that emerge from innovation using semiconductor technology across virtually every industry, especially given the current macroeconomic trends and geopolitical uncertainty. This includes ensuring American companies are able to fully participate in the global ecosystem. I know that we're up to the task and firmly believe that with investment, innovation, and execution, we can emerge stronger. It was a great privilege to serve as chair of the SIA during such a pivotal time for our industry. Qualcomm and I remain committed to doing our part to realize our vision of a world where everyone and everything can be intelligently connected, empowered by semiconductors. I'm excited for the bright future for the SIA and our industry as Matt Johnson takes over. I look forward to continue to contribute to the organization and support the SIA board in its vital work. Thank you again for this opportunity to serve the industry.
I'd like to say thank you to Cristiano. I'd like to say thank you to Cristiano on behalf of the entire SIA board. Okay, with that, I'm pleased to introduce the man who earlier today took the reins as SIA chair for the coming year. For better or for worse, Matt Johnson is a strong industry leader and a great champion for our priorities in Washington and other capitals around the world. I know I speak for the entire SIA board when I say we are very fortunate to have an individual with his skills, experience, and dedication leading the charge in the year ahead. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our friend, the President and CEO of Silicon Labs in 2023, Chair Matt Johnson.
Thank you, John. I'm honored to have the opportunity to chair the SIA and represent its members in this coming year. I'd also like to thank Cristiano for his leadership over this past year. Cristiano, thank you for your dedication to the SIA and for representing our industry so well in such a momentous year. And what a year it's been. The passing of the CHIPS Act was a tremendous achievement for our industry. And now we move on to the important work of implementation. But I also think it's important to recognize our landscape that we're in beyond the CHIPS Act. To fully recognize that this time is different for our industry. The pandemic and the supply chain crisis have changed our industry forever. The world now appreciates more than ever that countries, economies, and societies run on semiconductors. That awareness, the awareness of not just how significant our industry is, will bring incredible opportunities, but it's also going to bring incredible challenges and great responsibility. A responsibility to foster and nurture the health of our industry, the future of our industry, to be the stewards of this critical resource that we have. And the people to do that are all sitting right here in this room. This is the moment where we need to step up as an industry. We need to work together, and the same goes globally as well. That's the balancing act that we have to strike. But together, we are going to strengthen the U.S. semiconductor industry, because a stronger U.S. semiconductor industry makes for a stronger global semiconductor industry. There's never been a time where the SIA has been more important or had a bigger role to play. It's an incredible time for us to advance our industry, to advance our country, and to advance the world. And I couldn't be more proud or excited to be a part of that. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
All right, what's up next here? Thank you, Matt. We very much look forward to working closely with you in the year ahead. Now, one of those special far-flung guests, it's my pleasure to share a message from an outstanding ally and champion for our industry in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Senate Majority Leader, and still the U.S. Senate Majority Leader, from the great state of New York, Senator Chuck Schumer.
Hi, everyone. It's Senator Chuck Schumer, and thanks to the SIA for letting me join this evening. First, I want to thank SIA CEO John Neufer for all he has done as a partner with me in passing major federal legislation, the CHIPS and Science Act, to boost U.S. microchip industry. Second, congratulations to this year's NOIS Award recipient, Lib Bhutan of Cadence Design Systems. And finally, to everyone at tonight's dinner, thank you for everything you do to strengthen America's semiconductor industry. Right now, as we all know, our nation faces a moment of truth. The world's getting more competitive each passing year, and the question facing us today is if American workers, technology, and ingenuity will shape the next 100 years just as we've shaped the last 100. I believe the answer to that is resoundingly yes, but only if we work together. And the semiconductor industry is crucial. I was proud this summer to lead the Senate in passing the CHIPS and Science Act into law, which I originally authored as the Endless Frontier Act. Our new law will supercharge American chip manufacturing, strengthen our supply chains, and help end America's over-reliance on foreign-made chips. The CHIPS and Science Act is already paying dividends, particularly in my home state of New York. Recently, Micron made Syracuse the home of its new historic $100 billion investment to make advanced memory chips in America, in the most advanced plant in the world. Global Foundries, over in Malta, is building a second fab. Wolfspeed just opened a new fab in Marcy, and onsemi is acquiring a fab in East Fishkill. New York's on the move, and clearly a growing global hub for microchip manufacturing. I ask that more of the industry consider investing in the Empire State. And if you do, you'll find no greater champion in your corner than me, the Senate Majority Leader. So thank you for all the work you do to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. My very best. Hope I'll see you soon in person.
I'm wondering if Indiana State Governor Holcomb would agree word for word with that fine statement. At any rate, thanks to Leader Schumer for that great video and for his tireless support for our industry. Enactment of the CHIPS and Science Act would simply not have been possible without his leadership. Now, it's time to present the 2022 University Research Awards to two distinguished professors who have made outstanding contributions to semiconductor research. First, Professor Mark Rockwell from the University of California, Santa Barbara, and then Professor, I'm going to mess this up, Tiana Rosing from the University of California, San Diego. Before I recognize these fine professors, I'd like to thank our partners at the Semiconductor Research Corporation, and in particular, SRC CEO Todd Youngkin. Are you back there, Todd? There you are. Hey, Todd. Thanks. Who are here tonight for identifying these accomplished university researchers as candidates for this award. Let's give Todd and his team a round of applause. These two researchers represent the best of the best in semiconductor research, which is absolutely critical to our industry, the tech sector, and our country. Now, let's recognize our first award winner and then welcome him to accept the award and say a few words. Professor Rodwell, just hold on a second. Professor Rodwell will receive the award for excellence in semiconductor technology research. His pioneering work has enabled ultra-high-speed 5G, wireless radios, and links, and closed the so-called terahertz gap to make the next generation of 6G communications and high-resolution cameras and images possible. I hope I got that right. Please give a round of applause for our first recipient of the 2022 University Research Award, Professor Mark Rodwell.
So, thank you very much. This award in reality recognizes all of the work of the CommCenter Research Center, which is 22 professors and 65 PhD students. So I'd like to thank all of them. I'd also like to thank the Semiconductor Research Support Contract Corporation for their support, and all of the companies, all of you here, for supporting our research, and in particular, Todd Youngkin. So a hand of applause for Todd, please. Okay. But all of this work goes back much further. Much of the high-frequency transistor work that you see today was developed over a 30-year period by the Defense Advanced Research Program Agency and the Office of Naval Research. So some names here, some alive, some now passed away. Mark Roska, John Zolper, Philip Chang, Paul Mackey, and the extraordinary Max Yoda, truly legendary. The SRC asks us oldest professors not only to train the next generation of PhD students for you to hire, but they also ask us to make sure that we look out for the younger professors and help them get traction with their research too, which is a tough battle. So in that spirit, because where else can I do it, I'd like to thank the people who once long ago helped me. Above all, Nobel laureate, and he's still alive, Professor Herb Kromer, National Technology Medalist, and sadly just passed away, Art Gossard, the co-inventor of molecular beam epitaxy, Dave Rutledge at Caltech, who's extraordinary in mentoring many young many young professors, not even his own, Peter Asbeck at UC San Diego, and my colleague Larry Cauldron, not to mention my PhD advisor, David Bloom. So please remember all of those people. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Rodwell, and congratulations again. Now, our next award recipient, Professor Rosing, will receive the award for excellence in semiconductor design research. Inspired by the human brain, Professor Rosing's research work on hyperdimensional computing systems has delivered impressive accuracy and learning from big data with excellent performance, extreme energy efficiency, and robustness. Is that close? Okay, excellent, thank you. Please join me in congratulating our next recipient of the 2022 University Research Award, Professor Tiana Rosing. Thank you.
So much. First, I would love to thank the SIA and the SRC for this amazing award. I was super excited when I heard and very surprised. I really would like to thank these organizations for supporting my work ever since I started back in the early 90s as a master's degree student. It was because of that experience that I was very motivated to eventually pursue PhD and finally make it all the way up here. I would also love to thank my PhD advisor from Stanford, Dr. Nani De Micheli, for supporting me and for encouraging me to pursue academic life. He used to tell me, Tiana, you would be great at it and you would love it. And it turns out he was totally right. I really love it. And foremost, I really need to thank all the amazing, talented graduate and undergraduate students who have worked on this research together with me. Without them, no results would have happened. As you all know, professors are super busy, and it's really the students that do all of the hard work. Most of all, I want to thank my family. First of all, my husband, who is the most amazing guy in the whole world. Sorry, I know there's a lot of men here, but I got the best. He has been with me literally every step of the way. I want to thank my incredible 4 children who brighten every day of my life. I would love to thank my family back in Croatia for believing in me, for investing what was $25 many years ago to buy me a first computer, which turned out was a really good investment. I would also love to thank my American family, and this will sound a little strange, but when I came to America, I was a foreign exchange student. They took me in, and they literally supported me and were right next to me throughout all the years that I've been here. So I would really like to thank them for that. And of course, I want to thank many family and friends all around the world as well. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you and congratulations again, Tiana. Let's give both professors one more big round of applause. Okay, now let's hear from another outstanding champion of our industry in Washington, D.C., Senator John Cornyn from the great state of Texas.
Hi, I'm Texas Senator John Cornyn. In honor of this year's Semiconductor Industry Association Awards Dinner, I want to look back at our efforts in Congress to support the semiconductor industry this last year. This summer, 2 of my bills, including $53 billion in grant funding for the CHIPS for America Act and an advanced manufacturing tax credit, were signed into law. The CHIPS and Science Act will help restore domestic semiconductor manufacturing right here at home. As we face the evolving landscape of new technology, this legislation is critical to bolstering our economic competitiveness and our national security. So thank you for your tireless efforts to secure this critical supply chain and keep up the great work.
That was really excellent, and I'm not so sure when a lawmaker got in front of a big crowd, even though virtually, they spent less than 2 minutes. A huge thanks to Senator Cornyn for his valuable support for our industry and for being such a key champion for getting CHIPS across the finish line. Could not have done it without him. Let's give him another round of applause. Now we turn to the presentation of the industry's top honor, the Robert N. Noyce Award, to an icon of our industry, the great Lip-Bu Tan. Before we present the award, I'll welcome on stage Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger to say a few words, and then we'll hear from Marvell CEO Matt Murphy. So Pat, the room is yours.
Hey, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here for such an honor as this. Also, I'm joined by a number of the Intel board members over here. Where are you guys? Right over here. And my Intel team over here. And since Senator Schumer didn't hesitate to give a New York advertisement, Jobs Ohio. Yeah, there we go. You might have heard we made an announcement in Ohio. But anyway, it is a true honor to be presenting the 2022 Robert N. Noyce Award. And Robert Noyce was Intel's founder. He was a scientist, an engineer, statesman, entrepreneur, truly a world stature figure. And life, work, inventions, and statements like, do something wonderful. And he truly did. And a quick, how many of you have a personal interaction with Robert Noyce? Any of you? A few of you here? I certainly did. And I hold dearly the memories of the time I had with him. And when we think about Robert Noyce and the highest award that the semiconductor has to offer, Lip-Bu Tan is unquestionably worthy of that recognition tonight. As executive chairman of Cadence, he is a founder of the Walden Capital, venture capital firm. There are so many semiconductor companies that can point to Lip-Bu Tan as the force, the energy, the person that helped bring them to life. And now, and I particularly like this, he's on my board. So please, please be kind to him tonight. His expertise is second to none. His substantial industry throughout the industry, his ability to network across the ecosystem. He truly is a worthy recipient of tonight's award. And let's play the video now. And when you think about the great Renaissance leaders, Da Vinci and Michelangelo, how they were so skilled across so many different dimensions, and how they truly were incredible inventors, connectors, and saw things. Lip-Bu Tan is that kind of individual, and one who contributes across semiconductor, software, investors, global reach. But most of the Renaissance people had lousy personalities, right? And most people didn't like them. Lip-Bu Tan is loved by everybody, and he knows everybody in the industry. I consider him a friend. We share some philanthropies together. Now as my board member, truly helping to make Intel successful again. I couldn't think of anybody more worthy of the Robert N. Noyce Award than my friend, Lip-Bu Tan. Thank you so much, and please welcome to the stage, Matt Murphy.
Great, that was well said, Pat, so I'll follow up his comments with a few of my own. So thank you and welcome everybody tonight, including Lip Bhutan, who we're honoring this evening. The people in this room have changed the world in so many ways, and it's a privilege to be here with all of you tonight. I also want to recognize the members of the Intel Board of Directors who are here with us this evening. It's a special night for the Noyce Award, and a few months ago you were lucky enough to get Lip Bhu to join your board. I think I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say that now, more than ever, our industry and our country are counting on Intel to push the boundaries of innovation again. This evening we are recognizing Lip Bhu with the SIA's most prestigious award, the Robert N. Noyce Award. Lip Bhu's contributions are extraordinary and have had a positive impact on so many people, including many of us here this evening. He certainly had an influence on my career, in my life, and I'll describe that later, and I'm very grateful for our interactions. Some of you may have started companies with the help of Lip Bhu, and that's one of the ways he's made an outstanding contribution to this industry through his truly pioneering work as a venture capitalist. In 1987, Lip Bhu founded Walden International, focusing on semiconductors, alternative energy, and digital media. The name Walden is a reference to a book by Henry David Thoreau. He was a famed contrarian, he was a nonconformist, and he believed in self-reliance. In fact, Walden was investing in semiconductor startups when all the other VCs gave up on the industry. Lip Bhu was there. Forbes has named him to the Midas list, as one of the top 50 venture capitalists in the world. Lip Bhu has an exceptional ability to spot important technology trends years before anybody else sees them. And more importantly, he has a gift, a true gift for recognizing talent, both emerging business leaders as well as the industry's future technologists. He's made a living betting on the right people and nurturing their professional growth. You see, when Walden invested capital, Lip Bhu himself invested time, his own time, mentoring people and guiding people involved in the companies, and then even serving on their boards. The difference he has made to so many companies and so many people is truly remarkable. He's also had a profound impact as a public company CEO. In 2009, he became the CEO of Cadence Design Systems, and that was a position he held until just last year when he became executive chairman. Under Lip Bhu's leadership, Cadence was transformed, truly transformed. The company, when he started, was struggling. And to gain some early insight, he held an all-employee meeting, all the employees, and said, "Tell me ideas for improving the company." He got more than 300 emails from employees, and he responded personally to every one of them. He said, "I welcome bad news. I want to hear it so I can help solve the problems." He met with his customers, hundreds of them, and he told them, "I'm here to listen." He asked, "How would you rate our products?" And I'm told in one of the first meetings, it was with a particularly demanding Cadence customer. I think they're here tonight. They gave quite a few Ds and Fs. That was the rating. But Lip Bhu, he didn't get defensive. And the customer complimented him for his courage and said, "You know what? We expect A's from you." And that customer stayed with Cadence and became a trusted partner along with so many others. And under Lip Bhu's leadership at Cadence, innovation came alive. They launched many successful products. They made strategic acquisitions. They formed deep and trusted partnerships with the most important companies in the semiconductor industry. By the way, the enterprise value of Cadence when he became CEO was less than $1 billion. Today, it's over $45 billion. It's a 45x increase in value under his leadership. But most importantly, people love working at Cadence, and they love Lip Bhu. And as the old saying goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's one of the most extraordinary things about Lip-Bu. He's humble, he's self-effacing, he does not have a big ego, despite his many successes. And over the years, he's had a widespread influence on serving on the boards of many companies, from the startups he helped launch and grow, to Cadence and other large, very important companies in the industry. I'm not even sure it's possible to count how many boards Lip-Bu has been on. In fact, I don't think you even know how many boards you've ever been on. He's also served as a member of the Board of Trustees of CMU and the Dean's Council for a School of Engineering, and on advisory boards related to engineering and computer science at UC Berkeley. I also mentioned earlier that Lip-Bu has had a positive impact on my life as well. I knew him casually before I joined Marvell. And I would talk to him at industry events, I would see him around, and I always appreciated he was willing to spend time with me. Even though I wasn't a CEO at that time, and he could have easily focused his attention elsewhere. And then when I became the CEO of Marvell in 2016, he invited me to dinner. And he said he'd be willing to offer me some advice and guidance if I wanted it. I was happy to take him up on it. What an opportunity. And I discovered that he knew Marvell very well. He knew its history, he'd worked with its founders, he knew all the challenges we faced, and he told me he would help me in any way he could. He said, you know what, let's get it back on track. I'm gonna help you get it back on track. And that first dinner was the beginning of an ongoing dialogue and a friendship. He shared his own experiences with me. He told stories about what he did right and what he did wrong. He welcomed my questions and was a sounding board for my ideas. He's helped me immeasurably, and I'm sure others here this evening who've worked with Lip-Bu could say the same. So Lip-Bu, I am so grateful, and I admire you professionally. I admire you as a person, and I know that you're a man of faith, and you're very principled. You're devoted to your lovely wife, Isa, and your sons, who I've not met, but Andrew and Elliot, nice to meet you, and your grandchildren, which is extremely exciting. So it's so special that Lip-Bu's whole family could be here this evening. So congratulations for this honor that you're receiving tonight. You truly deserve it. I'll end my speech tonight with a quote from Henry David Thoreau, which captures the spirit of tonight's Noyce Award winner. I learned this, at least, by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will be met with great success in uncommon hours. With that, let's take a moment to watch a video to give you more insights on this truly remarkable man. Thank you.
Awards such as this are defined by the previous winners. And in this case, the winners are who's who of the semiconductor industry of the last 40 years. And Lip-Bu, your winning this award will just make the award more prestigious in the future. Cadence was hurting, and suddenly we needed a new CEO. And I was chairman of the board at that time, and I thought you would be the best person to be the interim leader for Cadence. And I talked you into doing it. You may have thought you were going to do this for $3. Well, you ended up doing it for 13 years. And the stock, in those 13 years, it doubled 6 times. 6 doubles, rather amazing. It's a different company, you transformed it.
Lip-Bu is a well-respected leader in our industry and someone I have personally known and respected for many, many years. His technology expertise is second to none. He has a substantial experience in semiconductors, and his knowledge in software and venture capital, with a wide network of ecosystem relationships, will continue to help drive the semiconductor industry forward.
I have always admired Lip-Bu. He's a big believer in technological innovation, and in his time as CEO of Cadence and chairman of Walden International, he's demonstrated both fantastic leadership and a talent for spotting the potential in emerging entrepreneurs. Of course, this award is a testament not only to Lip-Bu's impact at Cadence and Walden, but to all that his insight and ingenuity have brought to the semiconductor industry and the wider world.
Lip-Bu's passion for technology, never-ending support of startups, and excellent leadership of Cadence set him apart. Under his stewardship, Cadence has been transformed into one of the vital foundational companies of the chip industry. Like nearly all chip companies, NVIDIA has benefited greatly from our partnership with Cadence. As a grateful customer and as a computing platform supplier, as Cadence adopts accelerated computing and artificial intelligence to revolutionize chip and system design. At a time when semiconductor physics is pushed to the limit and chip design complexity is skyrocketing, Cadence's work and Lip-Bu's leadership are more vital than ever.
You listened to customers and you delivered on your promises. You made quality of our software products very important at Cadence. And in fact, quality of the products was part of executive compensation, including your own compensation. You made Cadence a great place to work.
I have known Lip-Bu for more than 10 years, and he's one of the main reasons I joined Cadence, because I felt that I could trust him. And I believe this is one of his key strengths, ability to build trusted relationships with customers, partners, and employees. And it has been truly remarkable to see the transformation of Cadence under his leadership. One of his other strengths is always look at what's next, where the industry is going. And this has made him not only a great executive, but also an excellent investor. I look forward to seeing what all Lip-Bu will achieve in the years to come and to continue to work closely with him. Congrats, Lip-Bu.
Congratulations, Lip-Bu, on this wonderful award. You are truly deserving of this prestigious honor.
I could think of no one more deserving for the 2022 Robert N. Noyce Award, the Semiconductor Industry Association's highest honor this year. Congratulations, my friend, and I look forward to working more with you in the coming years.
The board thanks you. The shareholders thank you. The employees thank you. And the customers thank you. And now the SIA salutes you. So congratulations, Lip-Bu.
Congratulations, Lip-Bu, on this well-deserved recognition. We look forward to your continued leadership in this industry for years and decades to come.
All right, please join me in welcoming Lip-Bu to the stage. Come on up, Lip-Bu.
Wow, hard to absorb everything happened tonight. So first of all, thank you, Pat and Matt. I want to thank SIA for this incredible recognition, and I deeply honor and humbled by it. And so many giants in this room, I feel very humbled to receive this award. As some of you may know, I didn't finish my PhD degree in nuclear engineering at MIT. In fact, the chancellor and then the provost said, Lip-Bu, you can come back and finish it. You finish all the courses, but I said I'm too old for that. Unfortunately, because of 3 Mile Island accident, it caused me to change my career path. I'm so glad that I entered the semiconductor field. It has been the fantastic privilege to be part of the semiconductor industry, and I'm so grateful for the vast opportunities that the industry has provided me over the years. I'm very thankful for all the wonderful people in the industry, many of them here in this room, and I'm very fortunate that many of them have been my dear colleagues, customer, partners, and close friends. I named Warden, like Matt mentioned, because of Henry David Thoreau's book. I like his philosophy of being a contrarian. And I started Warden in 1984, and that is a long time ago. And I have been the contrarian investors. At the time, virtually no VCs were willing to invest in semiconductor. I went to all the tier 1 venture firms in the Silicon Valley, and then every time I have a meeting and I'm talking about semiconductor, half the partner just walk out of the door. Then the other half is very patiently asking me, do you have another software as service company or something else, not semiconductor? I double down, triple down on them. Over the years, I make 85 semiconductor-related investment, with 19 of them going public and 26 being acquired, many of them by SIA members. And in a way, I have been the extended R&D arm of many SIA companies. And thank you for that. Speaking about bets, I'm especially thankful for John Chauvin and the Cadence board for making bets on me as a first-time CEO. I still remember my HR senior executive gave me 3 books, the CEO for Dummy. And I read all 3 of them every page. And one thing good, being a first-time CEO, you don't have a baggage with you. So I'm asking all my employees, asking me, please help me to being a CEO. And I mentioned, 300 email per day. And I had to respond every one of them. And so it's a kind of trademark that I care about the company. I care about the people I work with. As John said, he told me that it was just an interim CEO for just 3 months. And then before I knew it, 13 years has gone by. Bob Noyce and Gordon Moore have a great vision about the continuous advancement of semiconductor technology. And what particularly excited me was the opportunity for Cadence to really make a difference in helping accelerate that realization of that vision. And I'm really excited about that. And it has been a very fantastic journey at Cadence. And it was particularly challenging situation at the beginning. And it's very humbling experience that I had to restate the financial. And that is very embarrassing for me personally, but I took it on. I went to New York, meet up with 5 big shareholders, and I thought that I finally have a meal since breakfast and lunch they skip. And then they starting to accuse the board, accuse the management, lie to them. And I took it all in for 4 hours. And I didn't take a piece of bread. And I took notes, and then I respond, and I apologize. I stood up, I said, I apologize for all this happening, and we will make it right. And it had been a very challenging turnaround. And I still remember one of the big important partner is a foundry partner. I called up the chairman CEO, and then told him that I'm the CEO of Cadence. And 4 minutes of silence. I said, are you still there? And I said, Lip-Bu, we design you out completely. And why are you just resign? And I said, no, the news already out. I had to stick with it. I said, well, at least give me the last chance. And another 3 minutes pause. And I said, are you still there? Then the next thing, he sent 3 of his lieutenants flew over, and then they came over, and then I had to salute, and they said, Lip-Bu, you took the key, your company took the key, we cannot even serve our customer. And I said, I apologize, 90 degree, and then said that, well, give me one more chance. He said, well, the chairman CEO already give you the chance. We are here to help you. So anyway, long story short, and we really focus on 3 main things: innovation, customers, and culture. Being in the technology industry, you always have to lead with innovation. I always believe best product wins. And I push the product team not to accept incremental improvement, but they should really strive for leapfrog innovations. Being a venture capitalist, I'm always asking for leapfrogging. And so we practice that. I conduct technology deep dive every product group regularly, some of them quarterly, and have been doing that for the last 12, 13 years. The other very important thing is that you never lose sight of your customer goals and requirements. And our goal always has to delight our customers. You go beyond extra mile to build that. Build a long-term trusted partnerships, listen closely, and then do our best to commit to deliver our commitments. And many of my customers are in this room, and I really appreciate they not only become my customer, they are very close friend of mine, that I go extra mile for them, whatever, even though I'm not in this role as a CEO of Cadence Design, but they call me, I jump right away. And that's the kind of culture that I have. Basically, it's about caring about their business and learn about their business and be helpful to them in their business with their customer. And I strongly believe we need to have the right company culture, and that is the foundation. And we make it as a top priority to transform the 25 years, 30 years company culture to one that is integrity above all, execution, and accountability. And then I used to play basketball and volleyball in the college, and team win championship. It's not individual. And I'm so blessed with the very tremendous, talented team at Cadence, and we make a great place to work. I would not be here to accepting this award has not been for the guidance, support, and effort for so many people over the years. Many of them is in this room. And I'm very thankful for all of you and have many great mentors who have helped shape my life and my career. And the incredible, talented, and hardworking teams at Cadence and Warden. And sometimes people ask, how can you do so many things? And a very good friend of mine, he's a chairman of Silver Lake, he said, finally I found your secret. You have a twin brother, look exactly like you. So that's my always answer to my question of me about how I manage my time. And then, and also customer and ecosystem partners, and many of them is in this room. And I really thank you for your trust and your confidence in me and also at Cadence. And of course, above all, is my family, especially my wife, Isa, sitting next to me, married me for 41 years, and I still remember when I proposed to her. When I was proposed her to marry me, she told me no many times. And said, well, not because of you, but I just don't like to get married. And finally got married, and then with one condition, no kids. And I said, okay. And my mom and dad was quite angry at that time. But long story short, after I think about 10 years of marriage, one day she changed her mind. She said, do you want to have kids? I said, sure, why not? And so We have two wonderful kids, Andrew and Elliot. And in fact, there's another good story. He said, let's not stop at 2, more. And I said, no, we only have 2 arms, so we only stop at 2. But anyway, thank you so much for the patience and support for me. Otherwise, I can't be today. I often get asked about what I'm going to do after retiring being CEO of Cadence. And many of them are here asking me that same questions. And you know what? I'd really like to make bigger impact and contribution to our industry, that industry I love so much. And many of you know that I have that high sense of curiosity. I always want to learn something new. And then it's, really thank God that, after 56 time earning call, and I have enough. And so 9.5 years ago, I recruited Anirudh, and I told my board, he's the man. And 4 years ago, I convinced him to move over to California from Austin, and then moving into the president and increase the expansion of the operation. And December 15 last year, I told the board he's ready, and I will step aside for him. And so I'm just delighted that he took the helm and then drive the company. And then with that, opened up a lot of time for me. First of all, it's really good. I lost 30 pounds, and because so much exercise and so much free time, and I don't have to travel because of COVID and situations. And so you open up a lot of time to look at what the bigger pictures. And at this point, I'm especially interested in a couple of areas. Besides, I'm still very passionate about semiconductor technology, and then quantum computing. I'm heavily investing in that. I think John somewhere here, and from IBM, and then right here. And so something that I'm very passionate in, advanced packaging, and there's so many area and new material, and then the massive, massive data. Every time I talk to hyperscale executive, and some of them is in this room, and how do you cope with that infrastructure on that massive data, the storage, the network, the whole infrastructure got to change. That creates so much opportunity in terms of technology innovation. The other part, that I really like is I call it the software 2.0. In the past, you build the hardware, then you try to figure out the software to make it work. Now the world is changing. It's software 2.0. Software define what the hardware you need. And that is a gold mine. I'm investing a lot in this area. Second area that I'm excited about is AI machine learning, foundation models, and generative AI content and application, even education. And then you with the world-class, the movie producer that I back, and doing that. And that's something that I'm very passionate. And then the other part is the world needs more EE engineers. And everywhere I talk to, I endow multiple professorships. And the key thing is we need more engineers. The world needs more. US, we need more. So at that area, I'm very passionate about. The third area is very dear to me. It's called the personalized medicine. It's AI-enabled drug discovery and development. And that is a huge opportunity. If you look at all the hospital patient data, they are massive data, but they didn't know how to use it and how to make more accurate biomarker and drug development. I can predict the next 10 years, all the new drug coming out is AI-enabled and development. That's something that I'm very, very excited. I just joined, not announced yet, the UCSF Health and Executive Council, so that I have more access to the faculty, the fabulous faculty that I can work with. And that's how I spend my time. That's exciting. And then we are all very fortunate to be part of this incredible industry. And we have transformed lives of human beings on this planet. And I think there's somewhere we're still in the very early innings. And there's much to do, and much to do. And so I think this industry has even a greater societal impact for generational issues, include global health, climate technology, climate change, and many others. And as Robert Noyce so famously said, do not be encumbered by history. Go off and do something wonderful. And I look forward to working with all of you over the coming years and accomplish exactly that. And thank you all, and have a wonderful evening.
Wow, that's some act to follow, Lip-Bu. From all of us at SIA, from all of us in this room, congratulations again on this incredibly well-deserved honor. Let's give him one more enormous round of applause. Okay, now it's my pleasure to introduce tonight's keynote presenter, Ford CEO, Jim Farley. We're very excited to have him here tonight. We're very excited to have you here tonight, Jim. Jim has extensive experience propelling advances in automotive innovation at the highest levels of the industry, including how semiconductors can play a central role in unleashing the potential of cars of the future. We are thrilled to hear his insights on the trends driving automotive technology and other things he has on his mind. Jim is joined on stage by a trusted member of our industry and former Noyce Award recipient himself, TI CEO Rich Templeton. Without further delay, please join me in welcoming Jim and Rich for tonight's keynote conversation.
John, thank you. We decided to just move it along here in the spirit of picking things up. Well, Jim, it is great to have you here tonight at this event. Our teams work together with material, but I came up with some others, so we'll start there, I guess, in terms of getting some insights. But over the past few years, and I think this helps the audience a little bit, I've spent a lot of time with Jim for reasons you can imagine in terms of supply. But there's three things that have really stood out to me in the time that I've spent with Jim. The first one is I watch him bring absolute intensity to the near-term supply issues, very clear about both the economic impact that it has for Ford, but absolutely at the same time you see his compassion about thinking about all the families impacted when we are not building or we're not supporting the teams and we're not building enough cars. I've also watched Jim, very thoughtfully and very analytically question how Ford is running its supply chains and really searching for what it needs to do different and really pushing us to try to figure out how do we collectively build the supply chains that they need for the future and the importance of the industry. And then lastly is I've learned that he's an extraordinarily passionate car guy. And he's got an absolute love of Ford, but you will also, and I think you'll get a sense of it tonight, he's got an inspiring vision of just how the automotive or the transportation industry is going to change. He's got a very clear view of how Ford is going to make a huge impact leading that. And the reason he's here tonight is he knows semiconductors are going to be very, very important in that. So, Jim, let me just ask you to make a few opening comments and then we'll get started.
Thank you, Rich. And thank you for having us here. This is a very humble moment for me. My grandfather was an hourly worker for Ford. He was an orphan, had nothing. So I went to college because of my grandfather's job at Ford. He started in 1913, the year that Mr. Ford adopted the moving assembly line. And I asked him about it once. He said, you know, it was a lot more fun before because we could work on the whole car, and now all I'm doing is making wheels all day. But I feel like this meeting, this moment, is kind of a coming out party for our industry. Like, you are about to completely change our industry. And you are about to change a lot of people's lives. And I'm very excited to be here and very motivated to be here this evening to highlight some of those opportunities and to represent all the talented people at Ford because of your important work. The last thing I would say on the supply chain, I think the automotive industry needs to own our 50%. We'll talk about it. As Rich said, it's been very difficult. But on the other hand, we didn't know what we didn't know. And now we do. So now we have to make real change on our side as customers. And I want you to know that we totally get that. We own our 50%.
Well, Jim, why don't we get started? And I mentioned that you're a passionate car guy, and I had some research done.
Okay.
And first off, I understand you worked in Phil Hill's restoration shop. For those that haven't Googled Phil Hill, one of 2 American drivers to be Formula One champions over all the years. And you worked in his restoration shop.
Yes.
To pay for graduate school.
Yes.
I also have a list, and I'm sure it's only a partial list, of cars. And I'm not sure how big the garage is, but I hope it's pretty big. A 78 Lola T298, a 64 Shelby Cobra, 66 GT40, 34 Ford Coupe. I assume it's turbocharged?
Yeah.
Okay, got that.
Really early, 30s, 1930s, supercharged, turbocharged. Think about that. Not something new.
65 Shelby GT350, Boss 302 Laguna Seca, 32 Road Ford Roadster. Is that it? Or is there a few more?
There are a few more that my wife doesn't know about. Yeah.
Jim, what age was a passion for cars just clear to you? Was it always there? Or?
Yeah, it was always there. I hate to say it, it's the weirdest thing. My mom nicknamed me Jimmy Car. Always loved it. We lived overseas. I moved to Greenwich, Connecticut. I had a paper route, and the Ferrari distributor of the United States was in Greenwich, Connecticut. And I get my money in my paper route. I rode my bike down to the Ferrari distributorship, and I spent pretty much all Saturday in the garage with the Italian mechanics explaining the race Ferraris. Yeah, I got my PhD in the car business right there. I was 12, 13 years old.
I warned you that it was a passionate car guy. So that list of cars, do you have a favorite if you were to just get a set of keys?
Yeah.
And will you ever admit to a speeding ticket? And
yes.
If so, what speed?
I like to race on tracks for that reason, because there's no policeman there. My favorite car is a Ford GT40. We beat Ferrari at Le Mans. We're the first American car company to do it. And that car was was a real challenging period. And the reason why I love it is because Carroll Shelby, a chicken farmer from Texas, figured out the aerodynamics of that car, not some fancy Ford executive or aerodynamicist. And he won Le Mans for us with a 45-year-old driver, Ken Miles, who was so far past his prime that no one at Ford wanted him in the car. To me, that kind of, and the car was built with just a few people in a maintenance garage in our product development center. I think all great cars are developed for this in the same way. Small group of people doing something that someone you can't do that. We did the Lightning, the F-150 Lightning that way with 4 people. So yeah, I love the GT40 because of what it meant for our country, what it meant for Ford, and what it meant to be a challenger brand.
Oh, really amazing. Now, I also get an opportunity, and this isn't a question, it's as much just an observation. You were raised with crankshafts, with carburetors, turbochargers.
Yep.
Yet when I talk to you, you're discussing SoCs, GPUs, CPUs, architectural simulation. You must be going through just an enormous amount of change and learning, and that's just on the semiconductor side, let alone what you are taking on as you electrify your fleet. It's got to be an amazing time for you.
It is. I kind of think of it this way. The company's being refounded. I think if Henry Ford was around for the last 80 years, he would have been bored to death. But he would love to be reincarnated at this moment, because our mobile phones can do a lot, but they can't give you 45 minutes back. And that's what your industry is going to do for our industry. With great software, great SoC, we're going to be a category that can give a lot of people time back, which has got to be the biggest luxury in our lives. And he would love that. He would love that. So for me, the most important innovation of our industry is not the propulsion system. Actually, that's kind of math. The most exciting thing is a software-enabled vehicle that you can ship software to and develop capabilities like partial autonomy on a highway that is going to totally blow the trip away. Kind of like how we looked at phones before smartphones. You couldn't even imagine your mobile device doing the thing it can do now. We're going to have the same experience with trips. And that's why I get up in the morning. I love the past, but frankly, that's not what gets me excited anymore. I love good cars. That's not what gets me excited. What gets me excited is a busy single mom who doesn't have any time and wants to get back to their family and can now leave 45 minutes earlier because they can do their last meeting of the day in their car. That's cool. And that's what you guys are going to do for our industry.
Now, Jim, you and I have had a chance to talk, and I've just watched you from afar make the bold decisions of which vehicles you're going to focus on, and to not build stuff just for the sake of counting vehicles. And it's put your lineup into an amazing place in terms of the customer reaction. But I think it has also helped you recruit the types of people you're going to need to make that vision come true. Just talk a little bit about what it's been like to interview, recruit, and attract some of these great people that you're starting to assemble.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It took me 8 months to recruit Doug Fields from Apple. He was the chief engineer for the Segway when he left Ford in his 20s. He then went to Apple, then went to Tesla, the chief engineer of most of the modern Teslas, including the Model 3. Slept on the factory floor in Fremont for 2 years to figure out manufacturing. Then went to Apple. And I flew to California for 8 months straight on the weekend to talk to him about what we want to do at Ford. And he didn't even think about coming to Ford. I mean, no way. Now we have Rod Belichick. We have so many good technical people now, and they're not from the car industry. I think they want to ship product. They want to ship good product, not just cars, but software. They want to design embedded electrical systems, software that controls the car inside the company. And they're coming to Ford because they know we have a commitment as a family business to really change customers' lives. And they also love the history of the company, and they have a grittiness to all of these people who've come, because it's not easy. It's really hard changing Ford. But I mean, that's why we do what we do, to see people like Doug, who's a great American engineer, to really do the best work of his career. You may like the Mach-E or the Lightning or the E-Transit. We electrified our most iconic vehicles first, but the second cycle product you haven't seen. And Doug has been working for 2 years on that stuff, and it is freaking awesome. And it's going to really surprise people. I think there's a lot of Tesla customers who are getting bored. A lot of you are sick of coming out every day and seeing everyone driving the same car. Okay, it's the Prius effect. Prius was a great car until everyone had one. So I believe that reductive interior, great software experience, over-the-air update, I mean, that's a great model. But our business is emotional, too. And people like Doug Fields, Alan Clark from Tesla, they're going to totally change our industry. And you're going to want your silicon in a Ford.
Commercial messages. Commercial messages are allowed. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, Jim, on that, why don't we shift and talk a little bit about supply chains, semiconductor supply, touch on a little bit of what we've been living through.
Sure.
But as importantly, because again, we've spent time on this, talk about some of the changes that you envision wanting to see, and some of the things that you're talking about in terms of how Ford is changing, taking more control of design, and what you're going to be looking for from really companies in this room.
Thank you. We produce about 6 million vehicles a year. It's not a lot compared to what you guys do. Over the last 2 years, the constraints in semiconductors alone have cost us 1.3 million vehicles lost. That's 14,000 full-time people we effectively fired. Unfortunately, they didn't get fired. They lost their job about 8 hours a week at a time, in totally unpredictable production schedule. We've had 4 million employee work days lost this year. Listen to this statistic. This year alone, I've had 3 weeks where my employees across our whole global Ford worked a full week. Three weeks, the whole year, where a family like my grandfather knew what he was going to do on Sunday night for that week. Every other plant, for every other week, they got surprised because of constraints. We're the #1 employer in the United States in our industry. And I take my responsibility seriously. And our customers are waiting long. Now you may think, well, how hard is it for a Bronco customer? We're 50% of the commercial business in the US. Our customers are ambulances, police officers, first responders, a Super Duty on the North Slope of Alaska. The ambulance industry average age in the US is more than 15 years old now. We have almost a 3-year wait list for cabin chassis for ambulance. So it's been really hard. And listen to this, we lost 40,000 units of F-150, it's America's best-selling vehicle. I think iPod is the only vehicle with more revenue in the world than F-150. And we lost 40,000 units of production because of a 40 cent MOSFET chip. And it went in a wiper motor. 3 of them per wiper motor. I can go on and on. Heated steering wheels, 31 cent high side driver, lots and lots of pain. We underappreciated the complexity of what you do. We didn't know. So I did my research. We need a development team at Ford. We need silicon designers. We can't do this anymore. It's too painful. And we need to understand your technology roadmap better. And we need supply chain people from your companies and our companies to get it right. We can't do this anymore. A Mach-E has, your cell phone has 20 or 40 semiconductors. We have 1,750 semiconductors in the Mustang Mach-E. And it's going to go north of 2,000 soon. Hundreds of sensors, cameras, you know. And we have 65 nanometers lower and 1,800 nanometer chips in our cars. Of those 1,750, huge disparation. So I think the scale and diversity of what you do and its impact on our industry means, like, I can't do it anymore like this. I need the talent. I need new processes. When we single source semis, I need full transparency in my bill of material, all the way down to semiconductor. And that's why I've hired the talent. It's going to be a really big deal. But the one thing that keeps me up at night is legacy nodes. They're not sexy, but they run these people's lives.
We find them kind of sexy, but
I know, but when I look at the growth in the chips we need and the capacity you're putting in, our growth is twice your capacity increase.
So, John Neufer, we should have had this on video to get the CHIPS Act passed, and we might have had this backwards in terms of the sequence on that. But Jim, you've also talked, and again, I was so impressed when we had some of our team together with you, where you would be probing down into our organization
Yes.
of people that work with your team. What does Ford need to do different? How you're bringing designs closer, control in the architecture closer. Talk just a little bit about the things that you've got in mind and how that's going to work.
We have a lot of changes to do, so I don't know really where to start. I mean, let me see, what's the best way to start on that one? There's kind of a list of things that we need to change at the company that will have a big impact on you and us. And it's kind of non-negotiable. I know we're at the last 10 minutes here, but I think, the first thing we need to do, it's kind of hard to describe because it's such a long list. We need to migrate, obviously, to newer technology nodes. We need IDM and design service partners, no doubt about it. We need to establish direct contractual agreements with sub-suppliers, fabless SoC vendors. We need to get traceability through the supply chain. We need to share long-term demand intelligence, which we haven't been doing. We need to, and I believe we need to serve each other as servant leaders. I'm really excited about the CHIP Act, but we basically have to start from scratch in our supply chain and our engineering organizations. It will be a really different world for us, but now we have the talent to do it. They know what to do, and I don't really have any worries anymore, other than the availability of mature nodes.
Well, talking about the availability of mature nodes, and you and John Huntsman and your team were very active in the work this past summer and spring on getting the CHIPS Act passed. John announced at the beginning the number of investments that have now been announced in the U.S. a number of those, particularly by ourselves, in these legacy nodes, think 45 nanometer up through 130. As you think about the impact and what you would like to see with US-based wafer fabs and semiconductor manufacturing, any just comments or thoughts that you're looking at relative to the outcome from the CHIPS Act? And I know you've been working on kind of adjacent efforts with the Inflation Reduction Act,
yes,
where there's also some very powerful incentives in terms of battery manufacturing.
It's interesting for us because you're right. We have actually two supply chain fundamental changes: raw materials for batteries and what we need to work with you on. $52 billion is a down payment to create a foundry ecosystem in the US. Was it going to take 10 times that? Probably. Is it a 20-year journey? Probably. You know, I got to go to Samsung's campus in South Korea, and I was actually speechless. I didn't understand. Money alone isn't enough. We have to have the vision and the operational excellence, and the whole ecosystem, from raw materials and packaging. And I mean, it is a huge task. And all I would say to you is, you know, again, we don't need a 5 nanometer semiconductor for a window regulator, but you definitely want your window to go down. Okay? So I would say Global Foundries, right back at you. But all of you, TI, I mean, you're very, very important. And I hope this $52 billion gets spent the right way so we can grow all of the industries, not just, you know, a 5 nanometer, 10 nanometer chip. It's got to be all of them. That's my hope.
Good. Well, Jim, I had a chance, you know, we are fortunate by choice to have a number of new college graduates each year arrive at TI, and I get the chance to sit with them soon after they arrive. And besides feeling older every time you sit with that group each year, you know, when I was asked what am I most excited about or what are my thoughts about the future, I told them very honestly that I'm jealous that the next 40 years that they have are going to be more exciting than what I thought was the most amazing career that I've got to have. And you've got to be thinking that same way when you think about young engineers coming to Ford and the impact they can make. Just talk a little bit about, you know, what you hope to see or what that impact looks like for them.
In 2024 through 2026, our industry will be changed in such an amazing way. In September, 70% of all global EVs were sold in one country, China. 70%. So we're going to have like a competitive environment we've never seen ever in our industry. And we have to set up not only a semiconductor industry in the US, but a whole raw material processing. The mining of lithium and nickel is not tricky. It's actually all the processing that we have to get into as cathode material for the batteries. So, but the most exciting thing for me, we all thought that the first software we'd ship to the car was infotainment, and we were totally wrong because we lost that battle like 10 years ago. I don't know why we developed any navigation systems. It was like so stupid, we lost the battle. We shouldn't have spent a dime on that stuff. It was all on your phone. But partial autonomy, safety and security, video content. My kid steals my car at 15 years old, I want video of her driving. You know, if you get in an accident, all that data should be loaded to your insurance company. Your car should be a new node on your video content of your house. You have $50,000 worth of tools in the back of your Super Duty. You want that monitored, just like your front door. Safety and security, ADAS, and then productivity. We're 50% of the light-duty commercial industry in the US. You cannot imagine how excited it is for a fleet manager of 5 plumbers, and those vehicles are going out, how excited there is to get driver coaching. Are my drivers hard on the brakes? Are they ripping me off for fuel cards? They actually filling up the car they filled out their expense report on. Dynamic routing, predictive failure of all components. If you have 5 vans or Super Duties and you're a plumber electrician, you lose one car, that's 1/5 of your revenue. For a full day, it could be off the road for 2 or 3 days. How exciting it will be for a small business owner to have 100% predictive failure of all components. That's like right around the corner. And it's tied to the vehicle, tied to the data on the vehicle. It's not e-commerce, it's not streaming, it's stuff from the car. I think those 3 areas, productivity, safety and security, ADAS, we can see it. But what, for the young engineers, there's like a whole huge software capability beyond that. So we have to design these advanced electric architectures so in advance of the software being ready. And that's what I'm excited about, because I never had that chance. I never had a product that get better over time. Phil Hill never did. But now we're there. And I have no idea how cool the software is going to be that we can ship to the car. I can call the first 3 shippable stacks, but I don't know after that. And I think they're really going to change people's lives.
Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing time. And Jim, it has been a great opportunity to get to know you, and even more fun to spend some time with you. We are most grateful as an association to have you here tonight, where you've shared some of your views, and it's very clear what we need to do. And so thank you again.
And thank you, Rich. I really mean this. You know, during all these 3-way calls that all of us had to try to work through this, you've always been with the highest integrity. I've always felt like you would do everything you physically could for us, for our workers. And we really respect you as a leader. And without Ford, you know, without TI and Ford, you know, we would have been a lesser company the last couple of years. So I really appreciate you and all of you and what you're going to do for our industry. And all I'd say is, I hope that you're as proud of having your technology in a Ford as you are in an Apple or Samsung product. And I know that you'll be that proud. I really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim and Rich, for that really great conversation. And Jim, I think I know the make of the next car I'm going to buy. Let's give them one more enormous round of applause. Thank you. Jim and Rich, that was really great. Thank you. Okay, that nearly concludes our program for tonight. Everyone is encouraged to continue the evening at our after-dinner reception hosted by our platinum sponsors, Cadence, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, crowd's gotten a little quieter, Intel, Jobs Ohio, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, Micron, New York Loves Nanotech, NIIT, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and Western Digital. The reception will begin momentarily at the Market Street. You guys are trying to get out of here. The Market Street Terrace, which is the same place where you had the pre-reception earlier tonight. We hope you'll stop by and continue enjoying the evening. Last, but definitely not least, I'd like to take a moment to thank the entire team at SIA for pulling this evening together and for doing such a remarkable job throughout this very demanding year to advance the great goals of this amazing industry. It's a remarkable team. So, to Team SIA, please take a stand and take a bow. Thank you. And now you are released. Thank you very much.